He is the BJP candidate from Mysuru and Kodagu, but he is also the Maharaja of Mysuru. I am joined in by Yaduveer, Krishna Datta Chamraja, Narsimharaja Wodeyar. Am I right with the name?
Yaduveer Krishna Datta Chamraja Wodeyar, but
yeah, we are not
good
used
enough.
to big names. I'm really sorry for that.
You can call me Yaduveer then.
I can call you Yaduveer. So Yaduveer, my first question to you: how is the heat taking on you? You've been campaigning from morning, and Mysuru is becoming hotter than it used to be.
I'm not going to lie, it's obviously a challenge more than anything else. There is a heat wave, and certainly it's not easier when you're in the midst of campaign to have that along with other things. Obviously in campaign there are little things that add up to creating tension, and the heat is then on top of that. So it, I think, is good in a way also. It hardens us for the job ahead. So enjoying the campaign overall.
Do you used to come out like this before also, be around amongst the people, or is it because of the campaign you're coming out nowadays?
No, we had obviously a lot of commitments. People always involved us in public life a lot. So we obviously were coming out and about, and no road shows per se, but certainly taking part in public events, and there were many Sabha programs, etc., which would happen, and we would be part of that more or less at least till 3, 4 in the evening. So in that sense, there's not much change, but now of course there is more campaigning-esque events, convincing people that we are the right party to vote for, the Prime Minister's vision, and of course our own ability within the constituency.
Yaduveer, you're an interesting candidate because you're not a dynasty, you're not somebody who has a political background. You are a startup kind of a person, basically. You just become a politician. You're a Maharaja also. Now, people in Mysuru still consider you as a Maharaja. They see you like they used to see your forefathers. Do you think they'll be able to see you as an MP?
I think the voter is very much intelligent in that matter. That respect they give is to the palace and to my ancestors, and I'm just a vehicle through which it is given. But they know in this sphere, that the election sphere, they will judge us on our ability, and they'll see the individual for who they are.
But why did you want to get into politics? Because politics is very dirty. Now they'll start interfering with your personal life, mudslinging will happening. So you're prepared for all of this?
Well, undoubtedly, otherwise I wouldn't have come here. I think the question is not why we need to get into politics, but I think the necessity for individuals who have the capacity to represent people should all enter politics and continue to do good. I think if you have the groundwork and the principle as your basis that you want to do good social service, want to do good development and fulfill the aspirations of the people, and you stay true to that, I think it's a very good sphere to work in.
Like the reason why I was asking mudslinging, because if I ask you a very tricky question right now, will it be easy? My question would be, you put your asset as 9.66 crores, but your predecessor's asset was 1,500 crores. You're still a king.
It's 4.99 crores. There's no disparity in that sense. My mother is the owner of all the assets. In Indian tradition, we live with our parents. I live with my mother, is all.
But are you enjoying this role of an MP? Are you enjoying this activity that you're doing now?
Well, obviously, anything you do in life, you have to get some sort of satisfaction from it, some sort of enjoyment from it, and understand that you are doing good. The motivation is to do social service, to uplift this constituency and make sure that people are getting a good development and getting a good service, and society itself is benefiting from the various schemes, various social upliftment programs that the Prime Minister is doing. So in that sense, the enjoyment comes from the satisfaction of doing the job. Yes, you have to work hard for it, and I think work is in itself worship in many ways, and as long as you have your principles grounded, that the happiness you're seeking for is in the work you're not doing. So certainly doing the work is getting us happiness itself.
When it comes to a Maharaja, there is this perception that वो Maharaja palace में बैठा रहेगा, उसे क्या मालूम प्रजा को क्या हो रहा है करके. Your previous MP also had these aspersions regarding this before. So how do you tackle this? What would you answer to such people who would say that नहीं मैं वो Maharaja नहीं हूँ जो palace में बैठा रहता है?
Well, my ancestors are well remembered, and you mentioned before that people of Mysore still look at the palace with a certain amount of respect, and that is due to the fact that my ancestors did good work. They also lived in the palace, but yet they came out and stayed with the people and continue to do good work. I don't think your house matters when it comes to doing work. It matters on what you do with the position given to you rather than your house or wherever you live.
Okay, how difficult will it be to fit in the shoot of Shrikanta Datta Raja Wodeyar, because he was 4-time MP from here? How difficult will that be?
Well, it's not. I don't think that aspect of it. There's no comparison to previous or MPs that have been prior to me or to my own father or anyone before that. There is no comparison. My work is my own, and we are now, of course, fighting the election with all the candidates who have been given their nomination papers, and that's how I see it.
Also, you're not fighting against the Congress candidate here, you're fighting against the Chief Minister because it's a prestige battle also from him. Because it's his seat and he's been coming here regularly.
Well, I mean, the leadership in both parties need to do their job. At the end of the day, it is the list of candidates who are there, around 14 or 15. I haven't checked how many they are of late, but there are around 14, 15 of us. It's all between us at the end of the day.
So, people have already started calling this as a campaign between a fight between king and a commoner. What would you call it?
You just said it's with the Chief Minister also.
Chief Minister.
So you say, I think you'll also need to get your narratives right.
No, there's so many narratives. There's so many people who want to come you down.
There is no, like I said, in the democratic setup in India, post 71, the titles that were given to the Maharaja were abolished. We have always strengthened and wanted to strengthen the institution of democracy from my grandfather's time, from the time of independence. If not, he would have not readily merged our state of Mysuru with the dominion of India at the time. So he was very much for the institution of democracy. In fact, democracy was in Mysore state some 70 years before independence via the People's Representative Assembly, which was strengthened to around 250 members at the time of independence. Now, Mysore had a democratic setup within its monarchic system, and it has always strengthened that furthermore, and we share the same ideals today as well.
Okay, now we'll do a rapid fire because you've spoken about the history of Mysore. Now, Mysore has a vast history. Which era would you want to go back to if you had to go back to?
Well, I think I enjoy the current times and my current facilities we have in life now. But if you were pushed to a corner, certainly I would love to have seen what was modern Mysore in the time of Nalvadi Krishna Wodeyar.
Any legend of the Wodeyar family that you remember that stuck on with you, or an anecdote?
Well, we've all heard the story of how they put up the jewelry for to take out the loan from Bombay for building the dam. So I think that certainly stayed with the people as a sacrifice towards when instead of increasing the taxes towards building the dam, you gave up something of your own personal comforts to build something that was for a greater good. So I think that anecdote has stayed with the people of the old Mysore region and Karnataka itself, and certainly something that is an inspiration for us to serve the people going forward.
If you had to bring back somebody from the Wodeyar family and have a dinner with them, who would that be and why?
I haven't thought of these things at all. Certainly I would love to meet my grandfather, His Highness Jayachamraj Wodeyar. He was a philosopher and a musicologist and amongst many other things, an academic. Certainly, I suppose, sharing, even being in the same room with him would have been, I think, eye-opening.
So in this campaigning, what is that interesting thing that you've learned about Mysore?
I think especially the diversity within the rural sphere and the awareness amongst them about issues not just locally but on the state level and the national level is quite amazing. They are very well versed and very ready to even consider national issues when their issues at home are quite pressing as well. They want to consider that as well when casting their vote, and I think that is to me very much inspiring because to think of such great things while being from a humble background, it's something to be really lauded.
It is said about the Wodeyars and the Nizam that they were way ahead of their time. They advanced their state and their province way before than the rest of the country. So if there is something that you had to remember, what are the two game-changer things that the Wodeyar have done for Mysore according to you?
Well, I think there was a social upliftment in the sense that reservation was brought in here in 1918. The Leslie Miller Committee drafted its report, and then in the subsequent years by 1920-21, reservation was already implemented. So these concepts which were still very much not implemented across India were already implemented here in a very progressive way. The second thing, of course, is the building of institutions that have had everlasting value. Mysore University, Indian Institute of Science, the brand Mysore, Mysore Sandal Silk, Mysore Soaps, Mysore Park, all of that have lasted and have passed the test of time, and they are there here today, 100 years later. So the idea that you make things for not just yourself but future generations is something to be, I think, certainly echoed in the current
Because you
system.
spoke about future generation, a few questions of that. What is your plan for Mysuru? Because Mysuru is always looked as the backdrop of Bangalore. It's a silent city. Now it's advancing towards Mysuru. Bangalore is also advancing towards Mysuru now. What do you see for Mysuru? What the youth especially?
Well, Mysore and Kodagu are dependent primarily on two sectors, which is agriculture and tourism. These two require diligent efforts to bring them up. Our Prime Minister's vision is to double the income of farmers. So we'll need to work towards promoting whatever they grow locally and giving them the adequate resources so that they can further get greater yields or even better practices towards better farming practices towards creating a more efficient economy. The tourism aspect of it is also common to both districts. Mysore for its heritage, Kodagu for its nature and its traditions as well. So these need to be conserved, and there the key word is organic development or sustainable development, so that we are having a concern of these things at the same time bringing in the necessary development so that the facilities required to make it easy for people to access, easy for people to enjoy is readily available. So these things are very much required. Additionally, Mysore side there is an industry side of things and there's an IT side of things, both of which will have to be a supporting pillar to Bangalore.
So what is that one word that describes your constituency?
I think diversity is it's a very diverse constituency, but there's unity in that diversity.
Alright, well, we'll stay with you in the campaign. Where are you heading next?
Well, we are going now to our neighboring there's a neighborhood here which is another part of Krishnaja Kshetra, and we'll be there for the foreseeable couple of hours.
So we'll be following you throughout the day. We'll see what goes wrong and what goes right. So it will be nice to stay with you too.